If you had a chance to look them over?
This seems to be what I remember.
Pretty much does it, I think.
Yep.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes for Wednesday, May 1st.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, I wanted to let you know, I did talk to Ann Goby on Felton Field, and she
Ooh,
wants to know
good.
a list of what they are looking for to do. Because she said there are grants out there, and I could possibly get you one. So they've got a meeting, I think it's June 4th. I've got it written
They
down. I
who?
can't- The Felton
Felton
Field.
Field.
I'm gonna go to them and say, give me a list of what.
I've been doing a lot of thinking about that, and I'd like to somehow be a part of that, but they've gotta, if they wanna be a department, they've gotta kinda do it like everything else. You gotta have plans, what are you gonna do, some kind of budgets, who's gonna do it?
Yeah,
We have to know that before we can do money, but I think it's something the town has that could be very, very nice for the town to have.
yeah, it could. But the other thing, talking to town members, is that it's always been the horse people. And they almost feel like the horse people take it over, so, you know, nobody else gets a chance to.
Well,
They come in and they fill it with the horse trailers, and I know that
But
the
thing is,
baseball
if
field
they have
fills
to
that.
do, if they have to do plans, okay, and it's sort of like, almost like a department of the town,
Yeah.
people should have the ability to go in there and suggest.
Yeah. And I
Okay.
suggested that they increase their fees.
Oh, when they
200
rent it.
for an event, like the car show event. That brings in a lot of money.
It does except for the fans. Like this year.
Well, I heard they had, what did that hear, 10,000 people
I
came
heard,
through.
Not this year.
yeah, well, the fire department made like a fraction of what, in the refreshment stand of what they made, or the fire association, I'm sorry, made a fraction of what they made last year,
Yeah.
like 10%.
Yeah,
But-
this year was horrible
Yeah.
weather, but, I mean, the guy does a good job
Oh, yeah.
at
Yeah.
the car
Oh,
show,
yeah.
really good,
Yeah.
so it's an event that,
I mean,
Yeah.
last year you couldn't have got another vehicle in there, this year was quite a bit different, I drove by like 3 times.
yeah,
And each vendor in there pays a fee to him.
yeah.
So $200 is nothing
Oh, no, no, it's not.
for a fee. So Marco had said they were gonna look, and that was another thing, when I go to the meeting, I'll
Yeah.
question them on that again,
Yeah.
that
But
I
have
feel
they
everybody
decided-
should be able to
Have they
use it.
decided that they would want money under those kind of rules, though?
I don't know, and
That,
that's
to
what,
me, is that they would,
I more or less said to them, I think it was at the meeting when they were in here, that we could not put them on for a line item this year. We can't.
well, I think that you can think about the rules and see if they want to play and
Yeah.
how they want to play, and then ask them to propose something, would be
Yeah.
the way to do
We
it.
can't do it this year. They've got to plan
Yeah,
for next year.
but,
And I know that they've asking on the warrant for some monies. There's an article
Right,
on
yeah,
here.
it was
What was theirs asking for?
completion of the parking lot restoration and installation of the fence.
You don't remember which one it is?
I just
It
saw
was
it.
just for,
I saw it a while ago, but now I don't see it.
Article 17. page 3.
17, okay. Okay. improvements. Now, I saw somewhere where they still had, removal of the stumps. Well, they were all gone. So
It
they
was-
can't ask for money
right,
for
This was
removal
the
of the stumps.
installation of the fence and the driveway improvements.
The driveway going in, yeah. Because I know the baseball people get a little upset. Well, there's a soccer field in the back too that they use. Because when they have the horse thing, they pull all their horse trailers in and they stay overnight in there and
Oh, really? It's an
dig up
overnight
the
deal?
grass, yeah.
There's a couple rides that are definitely there overnight. The day rides start, if you're looking at Belton Field, with the trailers on the left.
Yeah.
But then they kind of spread around the riding ring. And when they do their overnight weekends, they're abutting the tennis courts and then moving backwards toward the baseball fields.
Yeah. And they were using the baseball field there the other night for the T-ball.
Yeah, the second field, the
unfenced
one
one.
that's unfenced,
Yeah.
yeah.
When I went into a game in the other one,
Yeah.
they were there.
Yeah, there's a lot of nights that both fields are in use.
Yeah. So that if they're gonna do something, my feeling is that they do something for all the people in town. You know, they used to have a fireplace there with picnic tables, so people could go in and cook and have picnics there. So I don't know, but I don't see that we can do anything this year for them. Do you know how much they're asking for in this article?
15,000.
Because I was gonna ask them that at the meeting. I'm gonna go see to the meeting. Now, how do you wanna go through this book? You did a great job on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Or
It's-
I'd like to
it's
go
really-
through your front 2 pages.
Okay. I do this one.
Because I've made notes on
I just gave it from
on the sheets.
Take my notes.
All right.
I made notes on mine, the different sheets. On what I would question.
One thing I couldn't find is the Board of Health
That's
page.
with the
So-
building.
Yeah, so.
Oh, it's with the building.
What it did was,
Oh.
we create, rather
I
than
wanted
just
you to
having.
explain that.
Yeah, so rather than doing, it's similar to kind of what we did last year with conservation, ZBA, and
Oh,
planning board.
yeah,
Because you had one person that sat, or that was in one position that was collecting, that was basically splitting, or kind of sitting in one position, but splitting their time between 3 different boards, and therefore taking out of 3 different salary lines. So I did the same thing this year with the building inspection by creating a regional building inspection line, which includes all the line items that go into that regional building commissioner agreement that we have with Petersham, New Braintree, and Hardwick.
yeah.
And then created the,
Page 9 is what I got for regional building inspection.
and then local inspection services was that last, was the local portion of the building inspector fees and all the and all the Board of Health stuff. So
What
that
page,
way,
what page is that?
that is.
No, this magic book. I had page 9, but I don't see.
No,
I
that's,
see regional.
that's the regional.
That's the regional one.
That's not
So
the right
local
one.
inspection service.
Oh, local.
Which
It's
is,
under L.
Actually, see it.
because I had a hard time
Yeah.
knowing
I
what was
forgot
what.
to move it
Yeah,
around.
It's page 29.
29.
It's almost there.
local inspection services.
Oh, okay.
So you can see the inspection that Board of Health clerk and building inspection clerk now becomes an inspection services clerk. That shows the full amount of hours and salary for that
Now,
position.
she's working for both,
She's working for both at the same time.
so
as
it's
she's
40
there.
hours a week.
Right.
Was she working
It was
20
no
and 20 before?
It was no change, yeah, it was no change to, I think it was 21 to 19.
Okay.
So rather than kind of pulling
Yeah.
that from two different pots, we're consolidating.
Now, my question was how did it went from 43 to 41?
That was the in the request, that was the original proposal that I had for the salary scale. I amended that, I simplified and amended that scale based off of what our financial position was.
Okay, so you changed them.
So your FY '20 complies with all, you got everybody into the new salary thing?
We got everybody into a new salary scale. If they weren't, I didn't bring anybody higher than what a 5% impact would be to that position. So on the new scale, if they weren't aligned correctly with the current amount of years, the plan would be that the next year they get that cost of living adjustment and jump a step.
I mean, to me, today's marketplace, 3.58% increase is pretty darn good. There's a lot of twos or whatever,
Yeah,
so.
Have the selectmen voted on this as far as that whole idea?
Have they adopted the new
Yeah,
scale?
right.
No.
Will they before the
It'd be
town
part
meeting?
of the, it'd be, I didn't want to get, put the
No.
cart before the horse.
I understand.
So, I would imagine they'd do it about the same time, probably right before the town meeting if this was the approval.
Have they, I mean, at least they should be discussing it, I would think, rather than, explaining it
Right,
to
right.
people as you would to us, the people that aren't watching
Yeah.
it. The two people.
I haven't had the opportunity to discuss it with
I
them yet,
haven't.
and I
I was
wanted
gonna
to
say
get
I
your
haven't
blessing
seen it.
first on it.
Well, that's good. I like that.
Before,
Well, that's
just
what
saying, here, I want
Josh
you
was
guys to
saying.
approve it.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I
that
think
it has to come from the
it's a good way
finance.
to do this,
And then
more
to the
logical, because over the years, we've heard a lot about
And
the
I was
old way
glad
was
he was there.
old, needed to be changed.
Yeah.
And to me, you don't want to have a pay schedule where people come, get trained, and leave.
Right.
That's-
we're trying to-
That's the worst thing
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can do in any business.
And we're trying to make it transitional, so that way it's not a big hit to the town all at once.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's just like, nobody's gonna get this big raise all at once, and really the only ones that we did the more higher jumps were the ones that were at $11 an hour. And you're not even making minimum wage, you wanna at least try to get them up to that 15, so I think we brought them up to about $14.50, so that way with a 1-year COLA, they'd be at 15.
Yeah, no, I think that was really, really good thing. to
So
do.
should we take a vote on this change on there? So that if we all agree that, yes, this looks good, and it should be, and then it clears it for,
Yeah, I think that's fine.
if we end up having to cut somewhere, we just change them. But as we go along, if we approve what's on here so far,
Right. As far as
And
the
then-
cut goes, if we still at that same number, around 100,000?
So, I haven't really
Yeah.
gotten much more clarity on
Right,
where the
state.
school is, other
Yeah.
than knowing that there's a little bit more money that came from the Senate, and they're still debating amendments to it.
yeah.
Mhm.
And it sounds like there were more amendments to increase that school number that passed even just today.
Mm.
So, I do think that we're probably gonna get at least, more than half, if not all, of that covered.
Mhm.
And whichever amount is not, I do have a conservative local revenue projected in here, so I think that would cover that gap.
Perfect.
I mean, 1% on that budget
Mm.
will
Yeah.
get us a long way there,
Yeah.
so.
Good, okay.
And I did have some conversations with school, one-on-one, that, you know, that they are gonna make some adjustments, but they're going to officially make those adjustments at a meeting on the same night as our budget hearing, so.
It's a tight schedule. Right?
Yeah.
Everything comes together
Yeah.
all at once, and
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Now, the school came into the selectmen's meeting Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any, you watched the,
Mm-mm.
I just took down a few notes when they talked about the school choice. And I asked how many of our students go out,
Right.
Of town?
yeah,
Oh,
and they didn't have that number, but she said they would get it. I was curious as to, you know, how many's coming in and how many's going out.
so if they're going out, Claire, you're not talking about going out to
Choice.
vocational school, you're talking about
Vocational
going to
choice.
another
Choice.
school
Right.
somewhere
Yeah.
else. Oh,
I think in their original presentation, there was some numbers in there. I don't- Damned if I remember what they
Yeah.
were.
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
asked about that.
Mm.
And then they've put money in from their reserves. So I was curious, what is the reserves? And what I kind of took it, it's like a free cash.
Right, it is, it's excess and deficiency
Yeah,
funds, and I think I'd be
Yeah.
able to pull up that number.
And our school committee is the one that decides the budget from the school. Not the superintendent, the school committee, so that our representatives on the school committee are the ones that we need to say, hey, we can't do this.
So their E and D is, for this year, was 1,036,404. I can,
And they contributed to the budget 17,000.
no, more than that, hold on.
For us, maybe.
Yeah. Because they had a good presentation. And they were talking about maybe doing the regional agreement again. The last time they updated it was in 2014.
So they're contributing. So it's 758,623 in district revenue. And I believe that of that around 500,000 of that is from the E and D.
Mm.
Mark Brophy gave quite a talk on we need to educate our students, you know, of course, they come through with that. We have to give them a good education and pay for it. He was going for the total dollar. But my question, and I didn't say anything, because I thought it might open up a can of worms, but if you take money from families in taxes, increasing taxes, yes, it's educating your kids, but what's it doing to the parents? You know, a drastic thing would be they've got to pay taxes, so they don't feed their kids the way they should. Or they don't get the shoes and the stuff at home that they need. Because I'm sure there are people in town that are having that problem. Where they were going that you need to educate our children. Well, we know that, but you can't leave the parents in the lurch. What do these kids do when they go home? That was just a thought I had. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
One of the things I noticed about the schools is they're more and more part doctor and part shrink. is part of, they assume their job because they have such problems with kids. And in the old days, teacher had a stick and that was the answer, okay? Today, it's not gonna work. So they're having a lot more people in there to do the same amount of teaching. I don't know how you're gonna get around it,
Yeah.
you know?
There was one thing that was brought up that I didn't realize. The schools are required to teach the English language to non-English. I didn't realize that we have to,
Yep.
that was something, and they were saying that money is needed for that, and they have to do it,
Minimum
When they were
curriculum
doing.
requirement.
yeah.
Maybe Ann Goby can come up with a grant for that.
Yeah.
Well, that's been, I mean,
That's
that's
what-
been a big topic of discussion when they're talking about recalculating the Chapter 70 formula and the amount of money that goes toward ELL. But, you know, one of the, primarily when they talk about that doing the formula, it really benefits mostly the gateway cities that attract most of the ELL students. What our biggest impact is the rurality factor that they're trying to build into this Chapter 70, where they're trying to get basically $400 a kid versus the $20 a kid that we're getting now.
Yeah.
So,
On the building and board of health, I just had highlighted the landfill expenses went down. Why?
it
'Cause
was
it-
level fund. I just recommended a level fund, finding little places here and there to.
Yeah, okay. I just wondered if there was a reason behind it, why they had requested more.
Yeah, they had just moved that money from the shared public nurse, but looking at what they use for expenses,
Yeah,
you know, budget numbers are tight.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Because like, anyone got any questions on the assessors? I just
No.
figured we'd go down
Yeah,
if there were questions on it.
I think that's a reasonable situation. So I had an agreement on that.
Yeah. And then the regional building, we just talked about that.
But now we have is this a new deal with the towns? Is that formalized?
Which is that
The regional building inspection department?
one?
They were
Right,
working on.
we've met
Commissioner
with,
and everything.
there was, it's really more on the operational side. Nothing's really changed.
Okay, so
on
the number you show in here is
The
pretty
numbers,
much gonna
yeah.
be, okay.
Yeah, nothing's changing with the compensation for the most part.
Okay.
There's just, you know, a few tweaks to that, but nothing that's gonna impact us significantly.
Okay.
The primary means for renegotiating was for operations.
Yeah, good.
And then the Council on Aging. Now, how is that, I guess I need a clarification on that again, as to how, now there's just Hardwick, right?
Just Hardwick right now.
Okay.
And
And how
when-
is their money coming in and,
So what it does is, the first rendition of the agreement was that that they were just paying us $7,000. It was going into the general fund to offset the total amount of the budget. We're finalizing the negotiation on that one, but the new calculation will be that it's the calendar year usage of non-recurring people. So every time you go in there, you scan that you went into the senior center and tell you whether or not you're a Hardwick resident or a Berry resident. So they'll pay their proportional share of the approved budget. But it'll be less, the amount that they pay for the formula grant, and then in $5,000 from our formula grant. So it's about, with the total budget being 82,551, it's about 10,000 less, so 70, 72, 23. And I believe that they had that it's 24% of the participation for the
For
regional center
Hardwick.
was coming from Hardwick. So their new contribution is 17,200.
So if you add another town, the process is still gonna work.
Right.
I think that makes sense.
Right.
Plus, anybody new looking to come in,
Yeah,
these are the rules.
yeah.
Right.
I think that really makes sense.
Now so that would really, we're used to seeing the grant money coming off of our total of what the cost. So that 17,000 will come off the 82.
So that 17,000 will go into the general.
General fund, but looking at it, it's reducing our,
Right, right.
okay, what we're used to seeing, the way we've seen it for years.
But the other thing that makes sense is this is that whole operation. 2 towns, 3
Mhm.
towns, 4 towns. This page will show the whole operation.
Yeah, which is good.
Which I think is very good. Yeah, no, I think that's really,
And what's the amount that we get?
That we,
Wasn't it usually like around 9,000?
that we get from Hardwick?
No, from
The grant.
the federal grant.
Oh, it's 11,000.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it actually showed that for, the first page, one of the first pages. Yeah, 11,844 was the anticipated revenue from the formula grant.
Okay. Yeah, I wanted to make note on those because I was used to seeing it the other way.
that lady that's running that show, that's pretty nice. Down at the restaurant in town, they have her little monthly thing there, what's going on and all of that. It's a really nice job she's doing over there.
Yeah, and that was the additional cost that we added in for the printing, because it was something that we didn't initially anticipate when we came up with the first rendition, and she brought up that there was some significant printing costs involved with just printing it in-house, so.
Yeah, well, I mean, but the thing is,
Yeah.
it's spread around, so I think it's really good.
Short money for good service.
It would be good if they could afford at some point to mail it, even to seniors. There must be a way to pull seniors off the census or something and mail it to the seniors so you get that newsletter.
I'll take care of that.
Yeah. I think Athol does that. Seems like I've seen some Athol ones. Okay. Then the fire. Anybody have any questions on
No, I think that's,
the
I can live
fire?
with that. Has the chief had a chance to look at this, Andrew?
I have not presented the revised. Once it's approved by you guys, I'll talk to them about it.
Mostly what he wants is there.
Right,
Yeah.
it's the only
Yeah,
thing is.
so I
that-
mean, it's
is that
all
6
in
hours.
all. I don't think that's in our situation, that's really too bad,
Yeah, it went,
right?
it dropped down, the fire.
Yeah.
And then there's the ambulance. Now, the ambulance is supposed to be, still supposed to be
That would be the goal.
self-supporting?
That would be the goal. We're about,
And how does that stand now?
we're $100,000 short of self-sufficiency.
And that's like for the end of this year, or do we have money that might come in?
Projected, projected revenue. So our projected revenue is about $410,000. Their
Okay.
budget is $523.
Can't leave people that are sick home.
And there's a.
What are you gonna do, right?
If you look at the amount of billable hours versus actual collectible. I mean, Medicare, Medicaid, and Mass Health,
Kill it,
$500. There you go. There's your check.
yeah.
You know, versus private insurance, which pays actually what we bill, which is around, you know, it could be $2,100 for an
Yeah.
ALS ride.
Yeah.
So, it,
I
just
think
because you
it's,
bill it doesn't mean you're gonna get it,
no,
unfortunately.
but I mean, when you think all about it, that's not that bad for the service that they give, I mean, for the town,
No.
you know?
The key is to try to filling those gaps in coverage, you know, so that way
Yeah.
we make sure that when the tones go out, we actually get an ambulance on the road and another town isn't collecting, whether it's
Yeah, right,
$500 or if
Yeah,
it's
right. Got it.
2,000 that we're actually collecting.
Yeah, because I know my insurance and Medicare will pay first, and then mine covers the rest of it. Now, I don't know if you've heard on this. There's a fellow from Oakham that mutual aid went over and picked him up, took him to the hospital. But he's now wanting the town to waive the $2,000 that his insurance wouldn't pay. And it's going, that's what I was talking to Dylan about. He's a lawyer. Okay, and if you Google him, you can see that.
He could decide not to pay it and he wouldn't get the money anyway, so.
Right.
Yeah, but my feeling is he needs to pay it, and they shouldn't just waive it.
So he's from what town?
Oakham,
Oh, and we went to get him?
on mutual aid.
Oh, okay,
So he owes the town of Barry $2,000. But he doesn't want to pay that. He says doesn't have the money, and he
Oh,
only
we'll have
earns
Guido go talk to him.
$35,000.
Hey, anybody can request it, they haven't taken their motion.
yeah, hey, what can you do?
And this would set precedents for other people. You could do the same thing.
Just ask me before you put me in the backs. Do you wanna go or not?
Does the
You
family
say yes,
Go to collections?
you've got,
And I'm saying it's not even a Barry resident.
you know,
And it's the Barry residents' tax money
They
that's
could
paying
vote-
for it.
They could vote to take no action on it, go to collections, and just go with every other person that decides not to pay their ambulance bill, so
yeah.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens.
but he can afford to do it.
Should the ambulance budget have an account for replacing the ambulances, even though they're not self-sustaining?
Yeah,
That would be the goal, my,
yeah.
what I'm trying
Right.
desperately to do is keep a healthy balance of free cash in there this year,
Mhm.
so that way when it rolls over next year, we could be over, closer to $600,000 in our free cash, and then be able to purchase a $250,000
Yeah.
ambulance with cash rather than bonding,
Oh,
so.
okay.
We used to have 600,
So-
665.
So that's on the capital,
That's the capital.
yeah, okay, so I'll take care of it on the
Yeah,
capital.
they desperately need to replace engine, or A2,
Hmm.
but it's just, we gotta save a little bit of money before we spend a little.
Yeah, that's, I understand.
They repaired the second one, right? So they got two that are running now.
Yeah, I mean, it's still not a great ride. And- But,
As long as the ride doesn't kill you, gets you to the hospital,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
good start.
Mm. And then the insurance ones, he just revised to the actuals.
Yep.
And I noticed you omitted the flood insurance.
in prior years, flood insurance had never been included in this
No.
line, but as I was going through the expenses, we've been budgeting for everything else, and it seems that flood insurance was part of it, but it wasn't budgeted in, and we must have put
Yeah.
enough of a cushion in there to cover it, but let's at least prepare for it.
Uh-huh. And the land use?
Yeah, that's coming out of, they're gonna still get their magic little box, right?
Yeah, and I'm looking at
okay.
what they have remaining this year. I want to talk to them. They might be able to afford that out of their current expenses if
Good.
they haven't. And just do it this year, and then it says that $100 annual maintenance
Good,
cost.
yeah. 'Cause I mean, I think they had a good case for having that thing and be something they could really use.
Yeah, and if not, we can just take that as an IT expense.
Yeah, no, that's good.
What page is that on?
20,
20?
20.
Lane
That's the right, that's the right one? That's what I have on my note, 20.
Yeah, okay. And I just had a note here, the regional planner,
Yes.
it increased.
Yes, once we actually did the calculation as to what the town's proportional shares would be.
Mhm.
So the 5,000 was an estimate, and then we
Okay.
actually sat down and figured out how much grant money we had left over versus,
Is he on the job? I mean, he's here?
probably, he's doing great.
Yeah,
We
good.
have, he's come up with the Quabbin Country website, I don't know if you've seen that, but it's,
I happened to come across that
Which one
the
is
other
it?
day.
so it's called Quabbin Country. It's basically kind of like a Yelp, but just focused on Barry, Hubbardston, Hardwick, New Braintree, and Ocam. And also, we're in the process, we're pretty close to releasing a new business guide for anybody who's coming into town. We can basically hand to them, let them know all the permitting that they need to do, all the contacts that they should have. Anything that you need to know if you're gonna start a business in town. First one he did was in Hubbardston. We're finalizing Barry's right now. We just have to change a few words in them.
Yeah.
That'll include marijuana.
It might. Let's see if a few
Where
more.
to grow it, where to
That's
smoke
gonna be
it.
the toughest one.
Yeah.
No, but I think that makes sense to have, because I mean,
Oh,
it's,
absolutely.
otherwise, what building do you go to first, right?
Yeah.
And then the next one would be for all, to do something around all permitting. So if you need if you wanna start, or if you wanna build a house, what
Yeah,
are the
what do you
permits that
do?
you need
Yeah.
to do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just, here's what you need to do.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
a lot
I
of
think
towns have that.
Yeah. So
that
we're
makes a
working
lot
on
of sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what his task, or what his job has been, is to try to find these opportunities to educate the public and businesses as what opportunities are out there, and
Yeah.
act as that conduit between government and private.
Good.
All for $7,500.
Yep.
And then the Henry Woods building,
Well, all that insulation, something's
Yeah.
gotta get better, right?
yeah,
I've been waiting for that one.
Yeah.
we'll see if it goes through.
Well, hey, you hope it is. I mean,
But
they
it should.
put the money in, they put
Yeah.
the time. I'm sure they did a good job. Somebody was watching them, so it's gotta help.
Yeah, we don't apply for all these grants to just keep the budget number the same.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is it ends up in free cash, so not something that, but still, it makes sense to see some improvement.
Yeah, try to avoid a mid-year transfer by, reduce a budget one way to
Mhm.
increase another budget to where it should be.
Yeah. Then the DPW. Have they hired somebody that vacant spot, the truck driver laborer?
Yes, we did.
So someone is.
Yes, yep, Jared Markowski is that big.
Okay.
So, are they full board now?
They are, yes.
They are,
They-
great.
But
Yeah.
they do still have one that's on medical leave,
Hmm.
so.
Oh, I know, he's
they
my
still
neighbor.
got- Yeah,
Yeah, it's my neighbor, good kid. He just had another operation on his foot. Gonna be
Heard it was-
3 months with no body weight on it.
yeah, I heard that was the last one now, so.
Yeah.
And Jason's salary, that's being split, right?
Yeah, so
between
that's how we're gonna gain a little bit of revenue in this year's budget, because instead of assessing all of his salary to the operational budget, because part of that job is to oversee the each enterprise fund, we're
Mhm.
splitting that salary 3 ways between operational and enterprise.
It's nice when the real world
Mhm.
comes into here,
Mhm.
okay? Because before, to be the real world, then there'd be the numbers, and you wonder what the hell's going on. So I think now
Yeah,
they're matching
Yeah.
much, much better.
should be. In the admin assistant,
Yep.
why did it drop?
That.
Usually they go up.
Highly trained, Claire, highly trained.
And this dropped down a few dollars.
Oh,
Shannon?
you know why? Because that first number, that was that proposed wage scale versus, it's actually increased from the prior year. So she did get her,
Okay,
her
yep,
COLA
Yep,
increase, it
okay.
just didn't get the,
yeah. I just noticed that and I
yeah,
said,
it did do a wage adjustment.
I said, I've got to ask Andrew
Yeah.
about that. Mm. They were all level funded otherwise.
Yeah. I tried to level fund to 18, but level funding to 19 is where we gotta go.
But that budget has a lot of pigeonholes, where the pigeons can keep moving around from one hole to the other.
Oh, yeah.
And you always have the magic pigeonhole, which is the snow budget, right?
Mm.
So I don't get too nervous
Yeah.
about that one.
Yeah. So has anybody got any questions on the highway? Jen, have you got, seeing this is yours through, first time through?
Mine are more general questions. Well, can I ask a couple general questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
This is
So-
what you can
All
learn
right,
from.
so everybody seems to have either a postage budget, cell phones, those things. Are they contracted through the town, or they, each department have their own individual contracts?
Each one, so the police department is the only one that actually has a contracted cell phone. I'm sorry, so that, and then everybody else is a cell phone stipend. So that would be myself, the building commissioner,
There were a few other ones.
I think it's DPW.
Ambulance, maybe?
Yeah. So any one of those would be a stipend, or would be a stipend position outside of the police department that lists a cell phone.
So it's just a flat fee per month. You could
Yeah.
have a $200 plan and you're getting $50 in.
Exactly, yeah.
And what about postage and like office supplies?
Postage all goes, we have a central postage
Okay.
machine here.
Yeah.
We run the quarterly reports that go out and it hits each department's budget,
Yeah.
rather than being central purchased.
No, because those leases are ridiculous.
Yeah.
All right, and then I guess my last question is under highway, water and sewer. Is there any talk to amending their charters to be a merged department?
No, because their funding source has to stay separate from the highway. We can't use enterprise funding to fund any portion of the highway department, so there still needs to be that gap.
But could water and sewer be one department?
Oh, yeah.
Because,
It could be.
I mean, other towns do it.
Mhm.
You could.
I mean,
yeah.
if you're looking to lose $100,000, to be honest, from personal knowledge,
Mhm.
if you merge those two departments, you'd have 5 people who could have multiple licenses.
Mhm.
You could save money on your overtime, on your weekend rotations, and you might even be able to lose a body, which is $50,000. And I know you can't do that in 3 weeks either,
Yeah,
but I mean, just
yeah.
long-term, I mean,
But this
If
is
you're
what
looking-
suggestions that,
But it's
Yeah.
interesting, because
Somebody
Springfield,
sees.
my brother and I sold the house, and we dealt with the Springfield water/sewer department, one department,
yeah.
or both. They sell you coming in, and they measure you
Right.
coming in and bill you going out.
right.
So I do think that might be more of maybe a charter issue.
Yeah, and
Or not charter issue, but it's a
a commission issue.
commission issue that they'll have to fight out on their own to see
Mm.
how they want to do
Yeah.
the long term. But I think that the DP,
Because what do we have, a water department first, and then we had a sewer department down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we probably had two
Right.
departments, yeah.
Good question.
good question.
Those
You don't wanna-
giving another
When you
set
said
of
eliminate
eyes.
$100,000, I mean, the first things, I've run multiple offices in multiple states. I mean, you can't cut workers' comp insurance, you can't cut salaries. I have an argument in my house about uniform services versus uniform stipends, and I don't get paid, my company doesn't pay me to dress myself, but, you know, municipal salaries are lower than private industry, so don't steal somebody's stipend from them. So, I mean, when you're looking to eliminate $100,000, you can do it $100 here, $100 there. Or in 2 or 3 years, you might be able to work the commission or the charter and save yourself 50 or 60 grand.
Yeah. The only downside is that's on the enterprise, that even if it merged, it's still on the enterprise side.
Mhm.
So we do have good balances on
Right,
the
yeah,
enterprise.
'cause
We just
they're
can't
own
we can't really fund any of that money into the highway unless we justify that highway expense as a enterprise expense or reclassify it as an enterprise expense.
So in other words, if you had water and sewer department, they would have a budget line that they would fund those road department to, like, when they dug a hole in a road, they'd fix it up and
Right.
we bill them that way. Okay, so
Right, I
that's
mean,
how you would cross
You'd
it.
have to
I looked-
interdepartmental bill.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at this last year as far as, equitable costs, and what goes into it. So right now, we have it's like $7,500 that goes into, say, reimbursement for town services in both of the line items. So total of 14,000. And that's supposed to cover, everything that, payroll services, the, services of the collections here, pretty much, or any assistance from the highway. Other towns, what they do is they have a more comprehensive one, and I think the way that I tweaked it was that the actual value of that is more in the line of like $40,000 of town services.
Not
that we-
14.
Not 14, that we actually use to help sustain the enterprise. So that might be something that, long-term, we also discuss as a equitable cost, formula to say a certain percentage of each budget that supports the enterprise fund would go into
I
the
see.
enterprise budget versus just a
Flat number.
flat number that goes in every year.
Now, here's another thing that was talked about, that the town doesn't pay the water bills, and that the taxes from the residents
But,
is paying for the town water,
so that
for the
goes,
town buildings?
well, that goes back to that equitable cost share.
Yeah.
So in that estimate, you figure if you had all of the buildings hooked up, how much per year are all the town buildings going to use in water fees versus how much in municipal services are we providing back to the enterprise
Yes.
funds that aren't being
Oh, yeah,
calculated.
yeah.
So right now, it's just a couple of lumps and forget about it.
Right.
Probably gonna take a lot of figuring to actually dig those numbers out, I
If you,
think.
if you took what our, what the actual usage, or what the water usage was, and then subtract that from that percentage of amount, being used, or a percentage of each budget that goes to support the enterprise, I still think you have a pretty high contingency that enterprise would owe the town, but all of that is negotiated,
Yeah,
so.
because I think that came up when they had that leak down in Felton Field,
Yeah,
and nobody knew about it.
right, yeah. All the water was wasted, yeah. I have a question on the, actually it goes back to page 6, where the transfer from sewer for the, from debt, and the number is 148,091.
Which page was that you said?
Page 6.
6 of 24.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it's up to,
148,091, right? For debt service.
148,091, transfer from debt service, yes.
And when we go to page 30, where we're listing the maturing debt and interest, for sewer, it's only showing 83,000. So,
Alright, so you said it's 83? Yep, so.
page 30.
Sorry, can you give me that page number again?
Page 30. That's the maturing debt and interest.
So 83,090, so 148,091 minus 83. 65,000. So that $65,000 is the vehicle that's proposed in the budget. So that way they're going to fund both the debt and, oh, I'm sorry, not the vehicle.
I'm gonna say.
No, I'm sorry. The
Something, there's gotta be something there, right?
infiltration.
Oh, that comes,
Yeah,
you put that
infiltration,
under there
the
too?
infiltration study.
All right, so that should, no. Isn't that on a separate line though? Why was it?
It's built into the budget. Let's see.
I remember the infiltration number already, but I just don't see why it's shown on that line.
Yeah, so sewer infiltration study, 61 to 64, 65,000. So,
Yeah.
well, you'll see that bottom number is 733,560.
What page are you
Yeah.
on?
All right, sorry, 61.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So 65,000, so
sewer
7.
infiltration study.
Yep.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
bottom line number is 733,564. So 733,564 minus 65 is 564, which is the sewer funded anticipated receipts number. That's shown on page 5.
All right. Page 6? 5, page 6. All right.
Yeah, so it's just, that $65,000 line, rather than taking that from anticipated receipts, we're taking that from
Okay.
enterprise, or the,
Putting it into.
a transfer from debt. E&D, that was the number I was trying to think of.
Mhm. Okay.
Should have relabeled that as transfer from E&D.
All right.
So the IT expenses. The IT managed services, you dropped 2,000,
Yeah,
and how,
IT's always kind of a bit of a crapshoot.
yeah,
You could have to replace 5 computers, you could have to replace none. I tried to add in a $2,000 buffer at the beginning of this, but where we're at, didn't pan out. I had to cut from somewhere.
mhm. Now,
Is that a person? That's just a lump of
That's-
of money.
So what
right?
that is CM Geeks, our consulting service that actually does CM Geeks. They do remote monitoring, they do offsite backup, and they're our 911 for when anything goes down. It's about $2,100 a month that we pay for that service, and generally they are really good. If you do have something though that's like a computer setup or real large scale project, they do, you know, ask for, or there are, there is an hourly rate on top of just the retainer. We try to, you know, they've been really good and they haven't charged us that, but I would like to have that buffer in there in case something does happen. But I think that we're still good with that $25,000 number.
I made note on here, must have been on the old sheets, Office 365 licenses
Yeah.
for 4,000.
Yeah, so I
Where is that?
lumped that back up to email 30, or 30 email addresses.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, we're gonna, that magic box for the $500 box is gonna come out of the 25 or out of one of these other things? If we have to buy it for the guys that take the pictures and,
IT expense,
oh, okay,
so 24,000 number.
yeah, okay. Because that's kind of, who knows what's gonna die tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we already talked about the Board of Health. And then on the maturing debt and interest, can you explain again the appropriating that 75,000 towards the short-term debt pay down?
Just get to the page area. Oh, I got it.
Page 30?
I just see what, I guess I just went to, I had to adjust that number a little.
I think you explained
that
it
is-
once, but I
So
I just need to,
basically what
Make
we're
note of.
doing is we're taking, what we have is 3 different bond anticipation notes. We're rolling them into one. That, and then we're going to try to pay that down as aggressively as, or pay down that one band as aggressively as possible, so, we're going to try to put $150,000 toward that this year.
uh-huh.
What we're gonna look at, we're gonna try to put as much as we can toward paying down that debt, but I think
So which is the
long-term.
short-term debt?
the first one, equipment ban and ban
Okay.
interest roll, and then the equipment and truck ban principal.
Okay.
Figure it is essentially capital, so if there is a need to use free cash to pay that down, it'd be justified.
Okay. So that might be some money we could use. And then, anybody else got any questions on that one?
I don't think so.
Then we go to the police.
Police.
That's a big one.
Well, my feeling is that you're ending up with a 6% increase in the budget. And in these times, that's pretty damn good, even though we've cut out some of this stuff. You know,
I think he's trying to work with his budget. Do you feel that way, Andrew?
What was that?
The police chief, I think he's really trying to keep the budget down if he can.
Yeah, and try to identify, the biggest thing is identify
Yeah.
where the holes are. You know, in years past, when it's been just salaries and expenses, then you end up drawing over $100,000 on your expense, and you just wonder why. You know, it's easy to just point, well, you know, I had to pay guys overtime. You know, we've really been trying to drill down to identify individual line items and certain spikes to see where the costs are really coming from, and by kind of branching it out to, I think we got like 15 different line items now out of the police department budget.
Yeah. It explains it
We-
more.
We have, even though we've had some turnover in the budget where we've had to pay out guys to leave over the last year, I think right now we're only projecting about a $20,000 overage at the most versus last year where we were almost at 90.
Yeah.
So he's missing 2 guys now?
Has he filled those
Well,
positions?
he's filled them, but right now he's, I do have a request for transfer to overtime because what he's doing is he's got to send these guys to the academy.
Yeah.
But while the guys are in the academy, he's also got to pay for somebody to be on the road.
Yeah.
So that overtime cost has been, has been getting hit, unfortunately.
But we do have guys, oh, good,
Yep.
because I'm wondering how hard it is
Yeah.
to hire policemen today.
Now, that accountant should have a new run of the general ledger now. I think it's
It'll
2
be
weeks
either
from
tomorrow or Monday, you'll have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you can,
And just looking at the
Sure,
last
yeah.
one, I did 5 budget transfer requests that I think that we have to move a little bit of money around on.
yeah, okay. So, anybody got questions on the police?
I sort of felt a lot of those numbers were probably the best estimate you can have. So who knows what's really gonna happen, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, some of his numbers went down. You know,
Yeah.
he reduced them from
Yeah.
last year. So that was good. Well, level funded, most of them. Yeah, he broke out all the,
I think he got a lot of what he asked for, a lot of the things,
yeah.
he ended up getting what he asked for.
Do we get all the cruises, Andrew?
Okay.
The new one?
The latest one that we had purchased was the truck, and yes, we do have it.
Oh.
Yep.
So beyond that,
Well, the next
We're
one on
waiting.
here was his administrative vehicle.
and that's gonna be an
That's when it was
article?
sick.
That'd be an article?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 35,000 versus.
Okay.
Okay, but so that'll be another one for this year, good.
Yeah.
Have you seen a truck out? I haven't seen a truck out.
I was talking to him yesterday about it. He has had it around, but it's actually in for upfitting right now.
Oh, okay, so it's not. on
Getting the
road.
cage installed, getting all the good stuff put in.
Get the loud mufflers and
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff, yeah.
Is it lettered?
It is, yes.
I saw something pulling into the police station, but it was
Yeah.
dark, it was,
Hmm.
you couldn't tell who it was, but it's,
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the new one.
It looks just like a cruiser,
Hmm.
but,
It does?
yeah.
What's he got over the bed? The bed got a cover on it, or is it,
Open.
can
I
it
thought
catch
he
the
was-
rain?
It was
He
open
was
now.
gonna
I don't
have
know what he's gonna
a cover. I thought he said
It
that
might be one
at
of the
this.
go-fasters.
do. Yeah.
I thought he said at one of the selectmen's meetings he was
Yeah.
getting a cover for it.
Yeah, I think the
Okay.
cover and then the because I know we were still waiting on the push bar to come in too.
Yeah.
He could have a motorcycle back there too, you know. Be neat.
If I see the request coming for a motorcycle cop, I won't question it.
Yeah.
Going through the fields. in the
Yeah,
woods.
exactly.
And then dispatch is a contract agreement, we can't do anything with
That's a
that.
done deal, right?
And the public safety building,
I feel like that's electric. Those buggers are electric, but they do use some fuel over there, right? To heat some of the areas that aren't the air conditioned, right? I think
Fuel
so.
I've seen go in was for the generator.
That's the only fuel, but don't
Yeah.
they heat where they
They're all-
supposed to park on the ambulances, that whole thing?
No.
No, because it's all the,
It's
all
all
these units.
It's
those.
all those, oh, okay. So if we get the electric company to trim, then we can save a lot of fuel. Power will go out, we'll have to run a damn generator.
what they're gonna look at for next year is doing a similar thing like we did over the DPW with a
Yeah, solar.
solar on
Yeah,
the
they
roof.
were talking
That's what,
about
you know,
that.
a lot of people wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because that's a
Money was
lot of
there.
electricity, cost for electric,
Well, it's all electric,
yeah.
heat by wire, not by fire. That's what we used to use when it's all electricity, the old days.
Okay.
We must have some actual fuel costs to make that number pretty reasonable, right? For the public safety building, they've been in there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a few months you can get to some, a couple of summer months and a couple of winters, so you could figure it out, yeah.
Yeah. Then the next is the selectmen.
You can't just buy a McDonald's card.
Well,
I thought
this was
at a
recommended.
meeting, they,
Yeah, this was recommended prior to the election, the person that brought it up. Didn't
because
know.
I thought they had discussed, well, they discussed it before the election,
Mhm.
that, because Charlie said, I won't be included, I have always
Right,
just not taken a
Right.
stipend.
right, so the thought was, let's at least put it in case somebody decides that they don't
And then I
wanna
think
not.
Matt said he didn't either.
Right. It's available funds if you wanna move it
So
around,
it
assuming
was-
that Dylan doesn't wanna take his.
Yeah, shame them into it.
Yeah.
Well,
I just didn't
at
wanna shame
least-
him into it by not budgeting for it.
But if you just paid him, he's got a little money there, if we have to.
Yeah.
Because they haven't taken it the last few years.
Oh, it's hardly worth it, taking it really.
The way I see it,
When you stop to think
if
about
you
it.
budget it, and they don't take it, that's available funds you can move. around.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
absolutely,
they can
sure.
use for something
No, I think
else.
it's good to put it in, and we can always just stare at them and make different kind of noises, and maybe they won't take it.
The town clerk. No new position. So far, we're kind of agreeing with you, Andrew.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, no, I think that maybe in the future that might be something to look at, but I didn't get the feeling that it was super critical right now.
What,
For the new clerk.
No, I don't think,
I don't know.
Things
we don't have the money.
In the next year, we'll have less elections than the year before. The only thing is it'll be the census will be the next big thing, but.
Oh,
So the election,
That's why, you know,
how come she had 34? She usually
had-
calculates that right out.
she had 34. I brought it down a little bit. It's one of those ones I just think that, you know, we had so many elections and we're able to stay within budget. I didn't think that a year that we had less elections, we'd need to be as close to the previous numbers, so I
Yeah.
just recommended we
Yeah.
bring that number
Yeah.
down a little bit.
Makes sense.
Now, that brings up a question. Are you going to, once we approve these, we say this is what we're gonna use, will you send these departments a copy
Yep.
of what we're,
I was
and
gonna
let
set
them
up
know?
the budget book's almost actually done, so.
And then if they disagree with it, they'll have to come in and talk to us, and,
I just say the budget hearing's on the 6th.
yeah.
Hmm.
So,
yeah, because it's coming up,
Yeah,
tells it,
I know
next
it.
week, right?
Yeah,
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 week, whatever, but I mean, it's
We've,
I
fast.
say,
We've
this is
got a-
what was agreed upon by the finance committee.
Yeah,
Yep.
Probably different, it might be different than what you requested, but they will be hearing all budgets on the 6th, and you can make your case.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay, so
I didn't get the feeling there was any real radical stuff done on these things.
No,
You know,
it wasn't to sit here and go, we're gonna wipe out, half the
yeah,
department. It was-
exactly, you
Yeah.
got it, exactly, that's the way I
And-
felt.
a few years back, we had
Oh,
to.
hell, yes,
We-
yeah,
We had to cut their budget, not level
yeah,
fund.
yeah.
And the treasurer.
That was just, that's all the new salary numbers in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then drop the tax title fees budget.
So we're getting to the end of that, right? That job,
Which that tax side?
that tax, I mean, we
Tax
have,
title's an ongoing
Never-
thing.
yeah.
it's
never
ongoing,
ends.
but I mean,
Yeah.
at one time it was horrendous, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're,
The thought is that if we get this, with the 10,000, we can go and file some of the actual properties into, at the, for actual takings, and then auction them off for surplus properties. There have been certain ones that just been sitting on the rolls for years, and just letters have been going out non-responsive, so. We gotta try to make a move on some of them.
yeah,
and then the street lighting you cut,
Street lighting, I just level funded for the prior year. I recommended just putting a little bit more of a buffer in there, especially looking at the previous year.
I mean,
But we're actually right on target this year.
with our new lights in town, we're not using electrical lights, right? Number of lights should have gone down, didn't they?
Right, and that's why we're like right at
Yeah.
budget now
Yeah.
versus, for last year, we were almost 9,000 over.
Right. Is there any problems with maintaining the low buggers that are out there now? Who does that? We do that?
Grid does. You mean the one over in the common?
All the ones in the common, the
All the ones
small
in the
ones.
common are owned by the town,
Yeah, but who fixes them?
DPW.
They do.
In charge
So they
of-
put the lights and
They do.
somebody mows them down, they replace them.
Well, they'll have to find, basically find somebody to replace them, but it would be, private electrician.
Yeah.
They probably call it for maintenance. But one thing that they look at, or been looking at, if you go to replacement of all your streetlights with LEDs, a lot of the towns are doing, what you have to do is you have to buy them out, then you own the replacement LED light. You basically contract with a private vendor to call when that light goes out or has to be replaced.
I mean, for the electric company stuff, or the stuff we got.
Well,
If we own them already.
If we owned the street lights that were up on the poles, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
one, the old school ones, we could reduce the electricity cost by, the amount of electricity that they use.
Oh, yeah.
But we have to buy out the light and then, replace it with the fixture. And then rather than relying on grid to just take care of it, we'd have to call a private vendor to do that. Which might, it would probably be an overall cost savings in the long run, but
I don't know, I tell you.
they do,
A lot of upfront cost.
the grid does offer the replacement of the lights with LEDs. The only downside is they charge a higher tariff rate
You have to
on
pay,
the
you have to pay the old
electricity
rate
that goes
anyway.
to it. So
Yeah,
it uses less, but at a higher rate, so you end up paying the same at the end of the day.
no, but I'm saying, like, the stuff that we own,
Yeah.
when they die, put LEDs in, when they die, replace them. The color might change a little bit, pretty soon they'll all be LEDs.
And part of that too is, purchase of solar credits that we're paying a lower rate to use electricity from a solar source for the street lighting
Oh,
versus the national grid rate. So, or actually not national, the Constellation Energy rate,
Yeah.
where we go for a private vendor. So it's actually, it's another cost savings.
Then we go to the veterans. Can you level funded that?
Yeah. We did request an extra 10,000 this year, or for next year. This year, we did go over by 6,000.
Yeah.
But that's another one of those fluctuating numbers. He could end up
Yeah.
with 5 more people, he could lose 5 more people.
Yeah.
And each one has their own amount that they're entitled to chapter 150.
Yeah.
We hadn't gone over in a while until this year. So rather than bumping that extra 10, we'll keep it level funded, and if we end up in a situation where in the
we
last
need it.
month, we need a little more money, we'll
Yeah.
transfer it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like you said, that's really pretty squishy number. I mean, he's right there, and he pays attention. He just does the best he can, because he doesn't know what's gonna happen on a lot of that stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that makes it.
And then the Felton Field. We need to work on that.
So, what do you want to do? You want to accept this?
The changes, yeah, that Andrew has
But
made.
though, okay, now we accept the numbers in this.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah,
Throw
so
the
we can
rest of
take,
yours
you,
away.
I got it, because what happens to me, I get so many damn books, and which one is right? Who the
Yeah.
hell knows?
Well, that's what I've got.
And this is nice,
the
though. I
old
don't have to
ones
carry
in a
around
loose
that big
leaf, and I'm
3-ring
gonna
binder.
throw it. Because,
I know, I took all my notes from the big binder, I wrote them all in here.
yeah,
And
that's
then
what
I
I did
shredded.
today. I
This was
was
my best
going
guess.
over it.
Throw it away.
Yeah, right.
And I like that it's dated, because I had 2 copies and I
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
sure
and
which
you
was
don't know
which.
which is which.
I remember,
So-
I always forget to put footers in, so I'm glad I actually remembered this time.
No,
But
I
it
mean,
was a great job, I really,
Thank you.
no, I think this is. and-
it's a lot easier for us to know, this is it, this
Yeah.
is what we're going with. And you write your notes in with
Yeah.
each sheet.
And I'm
so.
trying to do with the town meeting book is that, you know, as you're going through it with, on each one, it has the recommendation, and under the recommendation is actually an explanation of what you're voting on.
Yeah.
So that way, when they get to some of these, it's not a question, well, why are you buying that? It's like,
Mm.
oh, it's right here as to
Yeah.
why you wanna
Yeah.
buy
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'm figuring there'll probably be a lot of questions at the public hearing.
yeah.
And I might not be able to answer them all, so
I'll try it
I'll be
first.
telling
You gotta learn how to mumble, Claire, okay? Mumble.
I can't remember all this stuff, but I do have my notes.
That's when you play the age game, okay?
Yeah.
You just say, oh, well, I knew that yesterday, you know? You gotta use all the benefits.
Advantages. So can we have a motion for approving the changes Andrew has made?
Yeah, I'll make a, excuse me. I'll make a motion, we accept the budget booklet of May 1st as presented for the fiscal year 2020.
Can I have a second?
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we need to look at what, you've got that in here, I didn't even get a chance to look at that
What was
today. The, what do you call it, that budget worksheet which shows what we're short,
Oh,
You
second,
know-
second or third page, fourth
whatever
page.
you,
Yeah.
Right in
Oh.
the front. Page 3, is that the one you're talking about, Claire?
yeah, yeah. So it shows if we have questions on these. And these are estimates on the cherry sheet and the local receipts still, or,
Are
those true
I have
numbers?
more up-to-date numbers now than. What do you have? Can I just look at yours just to make sure I have the, I think I got the same number. tax. You get a little bit higher tax base, but that one's actually, yours is right, mine's wrong. Because. Oh, the new growth estimate actually grew by another 5,000 on top of this.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
bunch of-
okay.
Okay, so it's 75,000 now?
75,000. I believe the cherry sheet net numbers are the same, although that was one of those ones that we're actually at a lower point than we were, well, not lower, but lower than estimated because of, actually, yeah, we are at a lower point than we were last year because the state-owned land, they cut our assessment in half. Yeah, we went from $100,000 reimbursement for state-owned land
I
to.
think we should shut off the
They
water
can't do
supply in
that.
Boston and see what happens.
It's, yeah, well, thanks Governor Baker, it carried through.
Can we
Yeah,
log
like
it
from
off
the
and
hundred.
take the money?
So we still end up getting a pilot payment, on.
That's
on-
like
on the
in lieu of
DCR
taxes.
On the DCR land. Everything else is, there's a state appropriation for, for, other than that goes as part of your cherry sheet, and that's.
Oh, it's separate.
That's separate from
Didn't
the
realize that.
from the actual Quabbin
Yeah.
land.
Mhm.
That's typically been at about a little over $100,000. This year it's been funded all the way through to 50,000. It was a point of contention that was being brought up by Mass Municipal Association, but so far it
Nothing.
hasn't come through.
Could you give us a listing of the nonprofit or municipal parcels in town?
All non-taxables?
Yeah. And then who does give us money from those?
Well, the only one that gives us is the state and meditation.
The state, though, what is there? There's MDC and DCR, right?
Yeah, everything falls.
What else? Forests?
The,
Are those-
I'm sure the Mass Autobahn, or the Mass Autobahn is probably,
That's Audubon Society.
yeah, but that's probably non-taxable.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
They don't give us
Yeah.
They used to
Then-
have a nice place there. They had a summer camp and everything.
And anything that's owned by a church,
Yeah,
so, municipal property.
but I was just curious what amount in town
I can
is.
look. We're probably talking about at least a third
Yeah,
of the property in town is non-taxable.
Mostly that's due to the water business, right?
Actually, state forest,
All right.
yeah.
now is the listening center nonprofit?
Yes.
They are too. Okay. I had no idea what are nonprofits
Oh,
in town.
never thought about
You
that.
know, I know the churches and Insight and Stetson and then the health center. But there's probably other, I don't know all the state forests. Is there more than one in there? I think there might be,
More than one large parcel of state-owned land.
yeah.
And you have Berry Falls Dam area too.
Yeah. But I've had people ask me that, and I thought, I'm curious about that too. Because everybody says we have a lot of land. And I thought the state was taxed on that land. But then they said, no, it's like in lieu of taxes.
Right,
Forget
I mean,
who I
they
asked.
pay on the Quabbin, connection area. And that's outside of what's listed in the cherry sheet, but everything else on the cherry sheet is as much as the state's willing to give you for the land that they occupy.
Well, we do provide Boston with their water. I think, Brian, you got a good idea. We'll shut it off so they don't
Just
get it.
turn the spigot down, a little bit, that's all.
We need
Probably
more
enough
money.
leaking out of it. No shortage this year.
So
No.
they're, these are all about the same, huh?
Yeah.
Here's these, yeah. And the school, this is just level funded from last year,
Oh, from the last work,
First
from
time they did.
2019.
it's not.
No, it's up a little bit,
No, it's,
It's the number they gave us, right?
that's the number that we're at right now.
Yeah,
that they
That's
want.
That's 4.9%. 4.9% increase for Quabbin and about a 25% increase in Monty Tech.
yeah. So eventually, the Board of Assessors, no, not the Board of Assessors, the hell am I thinking about? The health business, they're all gonna be in that, local inspection services heading,
Yeah.
okay?
So you're asking the 10,000 for the reserve fund again?
Yes.
Well, the snow and ice is down from 2019.
Yes, but we did, so it's like I have good news and I have bad news.
Oh, what's that?
The good news is, the Ruggles Lane, when I was talking to the school, the Ruggles Lane PA system project
Yeah, yeah.
went from 30,000 to 15,000.
That's a good.
Because they were able to move some money around to reduce to fund it, the telephone aspect of it from other sources. So they're really looking for just the money to integrate the PA system into it,
Okay.
50.
And they are they gonna do the gym, well, cafeteria, whatever it is?
They're
they-
still waiting for quotes on that.
That
So,
we,
yeah, they
Oh,
had
is-
some bidding issues.
that isn't the PA system that we use when we're,
No,
They
no,
have
this
for
is
town
different.
meetings.
This is different. I'm looking at trying to improve that system out of pay access, so. The bad news is that we hit, as they're fixing everything for DPW, there was a plow that they had to replace, so it's a $15,000 plow. I literally got the word in the same day, so we have to increase that snow and ice.
15,000
to-
from.
Yeah, by $15,000.
Well, at least we,
I got that news within an hour of each other.
You don't get a chance to be excited for very long.
Oh, I know. It was enough time for me to reduce the budget, or to
Yeah.
improve the number in free
Make the
cash,
number.
and then I got the word. Hey, by the way,
Put it back.
I got to replace a plow
now, don't you have to do that Gatsby every year?
every other year.
Oh, every
Yeah.
other year?
Yeah.
I thought it was every year.
Yeah, so it's an every other year expense. So this was actually the year off. So now we can just basically encumber those funds because we had actually done 2 years in a row.
Okay. Now, this capital improvement plan, where are you exactly putting that money?
So that is everything that's on.
It's way in the back, right?
And all the way in the back.
Yeah.
Show that.
Way in the back,
63.
63, 64, 63.
But that's sitting in an account.
That is free cash.
The capital plan is free cash.
The capital plan would be funded from free cash. All the capital items are funded from free cash.
Okay.
So that's where it shows on that summary sheet in the front, where your current balance of free cash is $443,000.
Yeah,
And then at the end of the day, should have $102,000 left. Not appropriated.
So we'll have that 102 left.
Yeah.
And you've left it open on the putting money into the stabilization,
Yeah.
to see what heck comes out.
Yeah, maybe we might wanna move some of that money over into stabilization rather than leaving it free cash, just
Yeah.
so that way we can
Yeah,
have it available for special if we need it.
yeah.
Is there something about if you don't spend the free cash, something magic happens to it?
So all it does is it basically, you can't use it until it's recertified. And
Even though that number was recertified?
so that number is certified up to June 30th.
Yeah.
After July 1, you can't use that. You can't use that until it's recertified. And the recertified number goes into either excess or deficiency in your local receipts and your budget surplus. And that, along with whatever you have remaining in free cash, is what your new year free cash certification, or the next year free cash certification is.
But if you put it, Claire's thing, and that money's in there, you have to vote to get it out. But there's no funny
Unless
money with it. If
Stabilization.
you put 100,000 in there, you blink, it's still gonna be there.
Yeah,
Okay.
in stabilization,
Yeah.
it will
Right,
always be there.
stabilization.
June 30th, it's there, you blink July 1, whoa, it's gone.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and that free cash number can go, it can go up or down. Typically, it usually goes up because unless you're spending more than what your, only if you're expending more than what your budget is, or your local receipts are less than what was projected.
Yeah.
Now, have we gotten any money back from the issue with the treasurer?
Yes, we cashed in the bond for $100,000.
And when did that come through?
That came through in February,
Okay.
right after the court decision.
Okay.
The only remaining, we still are pending to hear from the courts about a impact hearing on it. I haven't heard anything from them yet as to when that is. So the only source of funding that's still kind of out there available on that is the retirement. And that only has about $25,000 in it. Say unfortunately, in the calculation of cost, we barely covered the cost of investigating the loss versus actually covering our cost that was lost in on that issue.
Now, I don't know if you heard the story that we went through. Were you on finance then? When
I don't know,
Maureen.
what's the story?
Huh?
What's the story? I don't know.
When Maureen took the free cash?
Yeah, I think I was, yeah.
She
No, I wasn't
agreed.
on it.
No, I
They
wasn't.
agreed with me, I was chair of finance,
Yeah, I wasn't on
that we came up with a number for the school, and that's what they were gonna do. When we got to town floor, she had that number, but then she added the difference to the number that they wanted and took it from free cash. And she had told me before the meeting, that half hour and the night before, that yes, they had agreed to that number. And I have never forgotten that. Because that was, there you are in front, and she takes the money.
But the town had a vote on it.
Yeah, the
They
town,
voted.
the town took the
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah,
She mentioned it. The town voted for it.
Yeah.
but she
You
wasn't
stacked the
supposed
deck
to
with
do
the number
that.
of hands that were in the seats
Yeah.
too, I bet, yeah.
She shouldn't have done that.
They had uptight time passing a budget this year, I think. 'Cause, I know Hubbardston's right now not in favor of their budget.
Yeah,
New Braintree
yeah.
not in favor of it. OPM has changes they wanna make to it. They need,
Well, I heard from Smokey and people, Ellie said they're gonna vote. They're going with what they've got, they can do it.
They might, you know, I
She said they can swing it this year.
Yeah, so, either way, it's tight.
But
know,
you
'cause-
only need
But you only need, you
2 towns?
only need one town, I think.
One town, but yes, because I thought you needed 2. And they said the other night at the selectmen that
They only need one.
they only need 1. If one town refuses it,
Hmm.
it doesn't go.
Anyway, where are we here?
Okay, so, I think we covered this
Yeah,
book,
I'd say we covered.
and we've got what we're going with there.
Well, shall we all hold hands now and say a prayer?
We got that much done. The only other thing is the warrant.
Do you wanna vote for recommendations?
Do we have to vote for that tonight without reading it?
What?
This?
Well, we
need
can talk
the
about it.
dollar amounts too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm figuring it, you can give us the dollar amounts on it
Okay.
if we go through.
Which I
Or
guess
do you wanna get
They're
your
probably over
stuff,
here Anyway, but.
Oh, this is.
those? Did
Oh,
you-
these, yeah, I mean, these are just, if you wanna look through those are just requested transfers.
Oh, transfers.
Yeah.
Basically, it's
Get that
covering
done right away.
the overtime.
Oh, there's a ton, none of them are
One of them's for you guys because
There's Brian, there's
the
one
special
for
town
you.
meeting booklets were a
There's
little
one
bit
for
more than
Jen.
anticipated,
Oh.
so.
Are they all the
Just
same,
covering
or
our
all
costs for
they're
the
all
antici-
different?
for,
no.
uh,
Different, there's 2 for
regular.
Jen.
Are
That's
they
when
all
you're young,
different?
Jen, you get the tough ones.
Veterans agents looking for money.
The transfer over to the selectmen's was more precautionary than anything, just, it's getting down there.
Well, we should read them out loud so everybody knows what they're doing.
Want me to, you wanna read one? Go ahead.
I think well, this is made from the Board of Selectmen Town Administrator. Transfer from within department funds. Transfer from the reserve fund. And request is made to transfer from departmental. I'm not sure I know. They're looking for
Who's looking?
selectmen.
Oh,
Hey,
ahead of the table.
I'm just looking to move about $500 over from
Oh.
excess funds to, right now there's about $700 left, that account left, got a month.
Yeah.
It can go quick, so I just moving an extra 500 into it as a buffer.
Okay.
From Finance Committee Clerk,
Oh, yep. That one's for the budget books, or for the
For the
town meeting
books.
books.
we didn't have a line for
Well, you had
that?
you had $1,000 in it. It was about $700 for the special town meeting books. There's only about
Okay. Okay,
$250
yep.
left. But we haven't touched the finance clerk pay.
So these are coming from the reserve fund.
No, they're actually coming all interdepartmental.
Oh, well, how come this
They're
said
swapping from one.
transfer from the reserve fund?
So if it has an X,
Oh, see, this
Oh.
is a new form.
sorry, request is made to transfer
Okay.
from within department funds.
Departmental funds, okay. All right.
Yeah, none of them should be from reserve.
And the current balance in that account is $280.94. And it's to do the annual town meeting books. So,
Okay,
we wanna,
yeah, make a motion.
yeah,
You can't make the motion?
no, I can't.
All right,
Brian's
we'll
the motion
We'll
man.
start over again then. We're transferring $500 from, now I gotta figure it all out.
Yeah, it's,
From the Finance Committee Clerks Fund to the Finance Committee Expense Fund. $500
and it's for the
Second.
books.
for books.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Department head, oh, that's you, that's me. Do I have to sign this? No.
Who signs it? Me.
You do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, under.
Down
So,
here.
This one,
Yeah.
it's been
Yeah.
changed down here, so doesn't this
Oh,
one have
hold
to
on.
be
I
changed?
think I know I had a typo on one of
Yeah,
them.
probably.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
You gave me the hard one.
Yeah.
You can handle it, kid.
Okay, you can have that one back.
Both of us have to change it.
No,
We haven't had to do these for a long
I
time.
wrote it on the wrong one.
The old
I
one,
meant it-
you know.
I meant to
you
change
can't
it.
remember
How
what
do
you
you,
did.
how do you transfer from a retirement fund?
Well, there's money put aside
So we're on.
that isn't been allocated.
All right.
Over
Over
allocated,
So you
overfunded.
overestimate on
Yes,
Right.
salaries?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's not like that money was already spent, it's in an account, getting ready to be spent. Well, we'll spend it all.
All right.
so what's this one you're reading? Did she read one yet?
You gonna read them? Pick one.
I have one more question.
Oh.
So if you're transferring
Maybe that's why I
from the
meant to change.
same account,
Yeah.
how do these balances change? Or is that the account it's going into?
We have to learn your new forms.
Yeah, I know, I know.
Well, number two is
Number four.
transferred from,
That's the balance.
and number
Is this
three
the
is
account
transferred
go-
to.
Is this the balance of account on line
And
3?
you have
That's
to do the
current
one with the
balance
X.
of
Right.
line 3.
Yeah, well, it's
Okay.
within
So
transfer, so it's,
Yeah.
it's
and that
within the
additional
police
$5,000
department
Yeah.
fund.
All right, perfect.
But that's a new
Does
form.
matter
Yeah.
when I read?
No.
All right.
Request
Request is made to transfer from other departmental funds in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 33B of the Massachusetts General Law, the amount of $6,700 from county retirement to veterans' benefits. The amount requested will be used for veterans' benefits.
So our
Second,
veterans' benefits are down?
Chapter 1, well, we're paying out more in
Money.
veterans' benefits
Okay.
by 67.
Yes. Okay.
Been seconded?
second,
Take a
yeah.
vote.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That's done.
Go again?
Go ahead.
All right. Request is made to transfer from other departmental funds in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 33B of the Massachusetts General Laws. The amount requested of $5,000 from county retirement to police overtime.
So that's
Second.
coming from the retirement fund again?
County retirement. We over budgeted by 15,000.
Wow.
Sweet.
How do we do that?
When I got the estimates last year,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that the housing authority wasn't in our budget. So that extra assessment ended up in there, so.
Okay.
And I questioned it, I was
Yeah.
like, are you sure that we're not getting another assessment for 15,000? They
Yeah.
said, no, it was just, they lumped in Barry Housing Authority with the town of Barry.
Is that the one we just voted on?
I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, that's the one we
Yeah.
did.
For
We
six,
just voted on?
We didn't vote
No.
on the one in your hand?
no.
No, we haven't,
One,
Oh,
we haven't voted on this one. So this is from,
Retirement to police overtime.
okay. And you read it. So we need a motion to, or did you
I
make
thought
the
that was the
motion?
motion.
Was that the motion?
Yeah.
no, I
Okay.
thought you said $6,700.
That's the first one.
This is $5,000.
Right, you just read that one, the 5,000. From
Okay.
Worcester County
So
Retirement
we
to
need a
police
second.
Yes.
overtime.
I
And you
second it.
seconded it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I read you.
yeah.
Oh, all right, I didn't hear.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll get
Okay,
this
you
straight.
sign it
Now
now.
I gotta
Sign it quick.
We'll get used to doing these things,
Boy,
'cause we
you gotta
haven't
give
had
us
to do
one
it.
each meeting, I mean, this is,
You know, to do them all at once.
Just try to stay ahead
I
of it.
know.
right?
You had to,
I'm
okay.
done.
All right, we're gonna have a departmental, or make a motion that we have, transfer departmental funds, $500 to the select board expenses from the county retirement account.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
You can be chair next year.
No,
It's a request for transfer within department funds of the police department. The amount is $500 from line item police purchased services to line item cruiser maintenance. Current balance is minus $432.10. So we're in dire need of this.
The engine, pay for the engine.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Get us out of the hole so the
Oh,
police can
there's no
drive
line on
their-
I
this
didn't
one.
put, oh, you know,
For me to
I
sign.
made two lines that pushed it off, just sign the bottom. It's that other piece of paper that's sitting in my office. Just that one line on the top.
Okay. So we got those all done. So now just to go over the warrant and get the numbers that we got on here that we want.
They kept the warrant open too long, didn't they? They get 8
Now, the
pages of
Article
things.
1 is the, well, we could make
Overbaked.
recommendations, these that are done every year. The same thing, right?
What?
These first ones.
Oh,
We could get the recommendations voted on in case we don't get a quorum again.
oh,
Oh, good
You
point,
know?
Claire.
So let's, the Article 1,
1 through 11.
yeah. See if the town will vote to choose all other town officers, agents, and committees not elected by ballot, or appointed or take any action thereto. We're gonna motion
So,
for favorable or unfavorable? Well, we could do a whole bunch of them at once, couldn't we?
Yeah, you can do them all. Yeah.
Yeah.
You said
If
Article,
wanna lump
One.
together at once.
And,
1 through 11.
2,
I don't know.
yeah,
oh, 1 through 11.
Jen might wanna read them, or she's the
Just wait.
first.
What highway funds, right?
Yeah, 4,
Treasure borrowing, that's
and
standard.
5's the revolving funds. And you'll have a list of those printed for the book?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. And the cable, that's so they can, wanna explain that one?
So
Jen?
what we take
Article
in,
6.
about $15,000 a quarter from public educational cable access.
Yeah,
That all goes into a special revolving fund that each year we have to vote to basically authorize a certain amount of funds that can be expended from. It's the same premise as the revolving funds, it's just governed under a different section of law.
mhm.
53 F and 3/4 versus 53 E and a half.
Oh, yeah, I can see that's critical. Then it can't even give it its full number, it can't be a very big law.
No, I haven't actually read these. That Article 7? What exactly is that?
So, the Mass General Law, that 268A, Section 21A, that allows the town to appropriate, the town to appoint a member of the Board of Assessors
Yeah,
as a working assessor. The vote that we take authorizes the Board of Assessors to appoint one of their own to that position.
oh, okay.
Do you have to do that every year?
Yes, because since the
Yeah, we have this.
statute states that the town meeting is the one that appoints that person, that would mean that every year, it would be that vote, oh, we appoint so-and-so to act in a role. So rather than appointing a specific person, they're making the vote to authorize the Board of Assessors to
Yeah.
appoint that person.
And then, now, what's Article 8? What's the dollar figure on that one? That's for the re-inspect, isn't it?
35-2.
35,000?
35,200.
And then Article 9 is the snow removal?
Yep, that
How
is
much is
overtime and, the, salary expense, and then Article 10 is expenses.
Yeah.
That
What
just
are the
allows them to
dollar-
overspend the budget, right?
That
Yeah.
it basically
It's money.
funds the deficit from the prior year.
Right, right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what are the numbers for those? We
That's
shouldn't
gonna
have
be
any,
56,000, so between the two of them, it's 56,000. I do have the exact numbers for
Do
both
you?
of them. Let's see, hold on, I have it, so as I'll have to get the exact numbers to put in there, but the total number between the two is 56.
okay, yeah, if you can.
We have the money squirreled away somewhere, right?
Free cash.
Yeah, okay, good.
And is the money from, Article 8 coming from?
Article 8 comes from free cash as well.
It's 11. And how much is Article 11?
Article 11 is $10,000.
So could I have a motion as a favorable recommendation for Articles 1 through Article 11 on the annual town meeting warrant, June 18th, 2019?
Want to do it, Brian?
Go ahead. I make a motion that we, favorable action on Articles 1 through 11 on the warrant of June 18th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Favorable, okay. Good, good, good.
So we can get those done and out of the way. Now, we need dollar figures for these.
Okay,
Article 12, the police admin vehicle.
35,000.
So this is going to be a car, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's replacing the 2005 Ford Explorer. That's on its third transmission, has a rejected sticker,
Oh,
has 150,000
they could give you a hell of a
miles.
deal on that one if somebody wants to buy it, right?
In Article 13, the revolver replacement.
18,000.
They have revolvers? I thought they had automatic.
Yeah, really. Not a
That's why I always forget it.
Huh?
Revolver.
I don't think cops had revolvers anymore. Oh,
That's what he's asking
That
for.
is.
I
that
noticed
was
what he's
the
asking
wording
for.
That was
Huh?
submitted to me for the request of
That's
the
fine,
warrant.
that's
so
fine.
I haven't seen a cop with a revolver in years.
What a,
Article 14, the
So
street
Oh, how much was that,
sweeper.
Andrew?
that was 18,000.
100,000 for a sweeper, right?
100,000 in the sleeper, yep.
And another lawnmower.
And DPW lawnmower.
Yeah,
We got more
wow.
mowers than we got lawn,
We got
right?
a lot of lawn.
How much is,
8,000.
fire department?
That was 8,000.
Now, what are they, equipment are they, what are they looking
That
for
was
there?
3 ladders, a intake, or a, let's see, the intake,
Front intake.
so it wasn't the front intake, it was the
Oh.
large diameter
Oh,
intake. A Knox box and and a VHF radio. Basically, it was everything that they couldn't salvage from engine 4 to move over to the new engine 4.
So this is for the new engine.
This is to be, everything on this is going into the new engine.
Have they got that new engine?
Coming in August.
Haven't yet. Yeah.
I haven't seen any pictures of the construction of it yet, so I don't think that it's started.
This is brand new.
Brand new, right off the line.
Have to start a fire, see if it works.
And Felton Field improvements.
15,000.
I know what I want to say on that. I won't say anything that we'll vote on that later.
Do
Maybe
I vote on
after
that?
my meeting on
We'll think
June
about
fourth.
that.
Do you want to vote on that one separately?
We'll think about.
Do you want to vote on that one
the
separately?
parking lot.
What do you mean by,
I don't know if you want to take it as one big article, or all the capital ones, or if you want to do one individually.
well, we can leave that, because maybe I'll see what comes out. Maybe the school will up their budget and we'll have money. But didn't they say they hadn't spent the money that we
They
gave them
spent the
last year?
original appropriation, but that was before they had done the stump removal.
Okay. Because I'd like to see some numbers of what they've spent. Accounting for money, not just give them money and not know where it's gone. Now, the PA system,
15,000.
Ruggles Lane dishwasher,
I believe that was 6,000.
repairing a
I
dishwasher.
do have the exact number.
That's a lot of money to repair a dishwasher.
Booster
Yeah,
replacement.
that's
It's
gotta
the-
be a magic dishwasher though for that. I mean, it's gotta have the steam, and and it's not like a dishwasher at
No,
all.
it's a commercial.
Oh, yeah.
5,200.
What?
5,000.
5,200.
So
it's
it's
for-
a-
What do new ones cost?
This is just the boost, the temperature booster and plumbing involved in. So I'm sure it's a huge expense just to replace it. This is just repair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Do you
what
know
this
when, how old this is?
I don't know.
Yeah.
When was the building built?
Yeah.
I wonder how old it is, you know.
In the old days, they washed them by hand. In the old days when at school.
Back when you were in school?
When they didn't have to have it at a
Used to
certain
walk.
temperature.
And we walked 40
Certainly
miles one
full
way
live
up a
or-
hill
In the snowstorm.
in a snowstorm, right.
The Wachusett Greenways,
$1,000.
How much?
1,000.
and then we know the budget, which
Yep.
we can't,
Mhm.
and the others. So that's where the budget's gonna come. But now, suppose they spend all this money.
Well, no, this is already, this is coming out of available funds.
Right, this is all free cash. Everything's free cash.
So-
up to that
Yeah.
point.
You really don't make.
But
So-
what happens if we need free cash for
Oh,
our
I
budget?
see what you're saying, yeah. Okay.
Wash
know.
them dishes by hand, that's for sure.
Can
We
you
still
go
have
back?
I mean, we still have that $100,000 contingency. It's a transfer to stabilization isn't after, until after
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was afraid of when they said moving them. And I'm thinking, I was thinking of moving them back to 3 where they always were. But- Okay, the next, okay, that's that, yeah. And the transfer, what, are you estimating that you want to transfer, if we can?
If we can, I'd like to put 50.
50,000?
Yeah.
Who knows, maybe there'll be a miracle and we can transfer more than that. Okay, and then we go, it's these others, which Josh brought out at the selectmen's meetings, that it's required for the finance committee to give recommendations for all articles on the warrant.
Hmm.
I know that had come up a few years ago.
Yeah, oh, yeah. last
People
year.
had said financial, but he said the other night,
Hmm.
finance committee is required
Hmm.
because most things affect finances in the town, no matter what they are.
Well,
Even
that's
if they're a
true.
bylaw
Yeah.
or something
I
else.
thought of that before, yeah, but,
You'd also vote to make no recommendation.
Right.
Yeah,
We also can make no recommendation.
You can
Right.
vote to make no recommendation on
Yeah.
the article.
but what was it? There was one
Oh, it was-
last year, I think it was, and they wanted to know what the finance
Yeah.
committee, and I kind
I
of.
think it was a marijuana bylaw.
must have.
It was
And I
like a-
kinda, they said, how does the finance committee feel about this? And I thought,
I feel good. Oh, I mean, we haven't seen a buck yet for this marijuana stuff, all this voting and all this time we spent, no
know.
dollars yet, right?
The millions will follow.
Yeah,
The cultivator he's got
He's
his
broke.
final,
Yeah, it's broken ground.
is that right?
yeah,
Oh, wow.
he got his license, so.
You wanna think about
What's
these?
Mary
Wow.
Jane? She's back at that again.
Yeah,
Why do we have to make it, well, no recommendation? I make
Yeah.
a motion, we have no recommendation.
that's what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Because she keeps coming back. I'm almost at the point where I'd say, hey, vote it. Doesn't really matter. And then she wouldn't come back
Well,
anymore.
it should be back, no, you vote something and it wouldn't work and it'd be back next year. That didn't work. That's what I think. I don't know what's going on. Maybe the kids will grow old enough by then and they'll move out.
Will they
So
have
we
a
doing
drug?
motions on that? or not? What are we
Yeah,
doing? All right,
if
well, I'll
you
make a
want.
motion that we have no,
No
no
recommendation
recommendation.
for 25, Brian? Or
Yes,
all of them?
Article 25. Well, that's. a
No,
good
I
point.
think we need to.
I'm gonna have to read the bylaw before I can make a vote
Yeah.
on
You're
Article
right.
26.
And they will be given out
Wait,
on
Wait,
June
wait, you
6th.
made a
June
motion
6th?
for no recommendation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I second it. Let's
Okay,
get
all
that
in
done.
favor?
Aye.
You will have for June 6th,
Yep, I'm gonna have.
all of these bylaws.
So the bylaw, that
get to read
bylaw
it?
is done. I'm working on getting a website launch,
Oh.
or the website page launch for all the articles individually.
That'd be nice. That's a lot of work.
This one's done. The biggest issues have come down to the zoning one, or the zoning amendments, especially the
Acreage.
marijuana ones, or the marijuana zoning ones, because
Right.
we have one that's been submitted by the planning board. We have one that was submitted through citizens petition by members of the planning board, which have two very different wordings in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have one that was submitted through citizens petition by another group. So
Wonderful.
what we're working on right now is almost like consensus amendments.
Right.
So that way, when Article 27 comes up, we can basically
Yeah.
turn to the one that submitted the third one here and say, if you want this article to do everything that you wanted in Article 29, make these proposed amendments, and then then town meeting can debate them. And if it doesn't pass, or if the amendments don't pass, then hopefully the bylaw passes as is. If the amendments do get passed, hopefully, you would have 2/3 of majority that would see that as being beneficial. So,
Yeah.
and then the hope would be that 28, 29, just take no action on.
You're gonna have these printed up though for that public hearing,
Yes,
copies available,
of everything.
because I had told some of them that they could, because they was, a couple guys were questioning, well, how can we vote on something when we don't have time to read it?
It will be,
And
I was
that was
hoping
the
to have it out by
purpose.
today, but it was,
Can the people that wrote these come,
They should be there.
request it and give the 25 words or less at the hearing? I mean, you hand out a whole bunch of stuff to all these people, they're all gonna be swimming around.
They'll go home and read it,
No, they're, oh, so you don't wanna vote on it then, okay.
yeah. I'm not voting on anything here until I see it.
Yeah, no, that's
And
right.
that's what a lot of people feel. And I think it's something that's gotta have this is my personal feeling, you need to have a stand on it, whether you're a finance committee or whatever you are.
I think that's the best thing to do. The finance committee as a group doesn't have an opinion. You stand
Yeah,
up
but I
for what
think
you
we should
think.
have an opinion,
Think so?
yeah.
What if it's not the same?
Well,
It doesn't matter,
Yeah,
you
but
just
so
put
it
how many voted
Two,
for
three,
and how
three,
many
Yeah,
two,
split
last
vote,
year.
yeah.
again,
Exactly.
or
Oh, okay.
abstain.
Okay, that's all,
But
that's okay.
at least have something there
Okay.
for the people.
Yep.
I mean, you had one last year that was actually a finance one that was a 3-3 vote, so it went in there as split.
Yeah,
3-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
because you can abstain, you can vote yes or no, whatever you want. So the marijuana ones are in there. And then there's some here on solar. I still really don't understand these solar ones, and I've sat at selectmen
So-
meetings, but I still don't.
This one's a little interesting because, you know, the second one down was one of the, they submitted a citizens petition
Yeah.
for amendments to the code of the town of Barry for the solar. But what they used to get the signatures on had no changes to what is on record. So that one's almost like, I don't even worry about that one, it's gonna get bypassed. I haven't received anything yet, hard copy from the planning board, but the fact that they submitted one citizen's petition, it's basically, they must be working on something, so I haven't
Yeah,
actually seen what the
okay.
changes that they're proposing are.
And then the zoning. Well, I know the one on Ronnie Higgins. Because it's up behind me.
Oh,
It's Worcester Road and Town Farm Road, and behind his building.
yeah. Oh.
He's changing it from R80, R20 to R80, right, for the, so he can put in solar
This
fields.
is actually changing to business commercial.
Oh, is
Yeah.
that different than R80?
Yes, R80 is rural residential.
R20 is residential.
R20 is residential, R80 is a lower density residential.
Okay.
So
then
these are two
there's-
pieces,
there's
different
also
pieces.
another,
Yeah.
yeah, there's
So the
two.
hill behind Higgins, they wanna put solar on.
Yeah.
Chop all the trees.
I was concerned because I've got an acre of land behind, but they're gonna leave like another couple of acres before they start. But it's going right behind the houses on Worcester Road. From the corner down to his, I would think they'd leave some trees along there, but I don't know
That'd be up to
the way the
angle.
sun comes, you know,
Gotta be facing south.
yeah. Because it's a steep incline. I was looking at it when I went by to see, and it's a steep incline on that side. So, I don't know. But that's what that is. And there's two pieces of land there.
And what's Richie wanna do?
What was his on Nichols Road? I read something about it.
I don't know enough about that one that one came in as a citizen's petition.
And he's changing that
To R80.
from, what was it? It doesn't say here. Yeah, it doesn't say what it was.
I will look at the citizen's petition, let me see. That is.
I've read so many things in the last few weeks that I can't remember them all. And I did read something on that, but can't remember what it was.
You know, even in the citizen's petition, it doesn't say what the current.
So you're
zoning
saying R eighty
designation
is
It
less
just-
dense?
Less density.
What's less dense than R eighty?
There's nothing.
So
It's
it
less
can't be
than-
more dense to less dense, what are you
Right.
gonna do, knock the buildings down?
Well, the other thing is that, you know, something that, there could be a,
R20 is strictly residential.
right, R80 allows for,
Home businesses, maybe? No?
sold. Could be sold,
Oh,
because it is allowed in the R80 district.
But
I'm not saying that's
Ronnie
what he's doing,
is not, well, he was changing it to R80. That's what he talked about. It says business commercial.
So the citizens petition says, to see if the town will vote to change zoning district for property located at 369 Nichols Road, Assessors Map H, Lot 369, and described in the Worcester Registry of
Yeah.
Deeds, book page 2R80, or take any action relative thereto. So it doesn't say
Yeah,
what the current zoning
Yeah.
district is.
I didn't. So I don't know where that is. But if you plug in 369 Nichols Road, you'll see, it must be an empty lot. But I don't know what he's gonna do with it.
where's Nichols Road? I'm a new to town, we've been
How
here
can I
40 years.
explain? Do you know
What?
where, across from J and J?
right.
Oh, that stuff in there.
That dirt road, and it comes out in the Italian section in South Barry.
Comes up with a dam.
There's nothing in there, is there?
Oh, there's
Yeah,
houses
several
all
houses.
through there.
Right, no, but I'm saying right across, that's woods all along there, isn't it? No?
No, Nichols Road is houses. There's houses all through there. You should drive through sometime.
I might have been there once.
There's a lot of houses
Yeah,
through there.
to John's house.
John's, I've been there, there's on that street, but in the back of them, it seemed like there's a lot of land across from J and J when I'm riding, it's all woods.
Anywho,
It is wooded on either side of Nichols Road. though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, there's a house on this side, right on the corner.
Right.
Yeah,
maybe Richie wants to put up a big oil tank there,
maybe.
could be.
so how about the
then-
state flag?
Yeah,
What
what's
would
about
change
that?
to?
That has to be,
I didn't say what they want to change it to.
the state requires you to put it on there, right?
I think this is just a grassroots petition of different towns that have tried to get this on the warrant, on their
Somebody told
town
me that
warrants.
the state required that you put it on there. I don't
think they're
remember
trying
who
to,
it
they're
was
trying to
that
get
told
each town to, you know, there's certain people that are trying to get each town to pass a resolution to get the state's attention on the issue, so that way they can take it up in the, you know, in the state legislature. But I think that's really all it is grassroots efforts to try to get town meeting resolutions that then go to the state to see that, oh, hey, you know, 100 towns in Massachusetts
sure.
don't like their
I
flags.
I looked it up online, that's
What's the
why.
flag look like, do you know?
Is it this one?
They,
Yeah,
they wanna put,
Take the
they
Native
said the
American.
Indian on it
Take the
is,
Native American.
discriminating or it's bad, how do you, what
Oh,
would you
man, I
use
tell
for
you, some
word?
people got nothing to worry about.
They wanna change the Indian because it's making the Indians look bad.
yeah. The arrow pointing down is supposed to mean a symbol of, you know, retreat with the sword above it, meaning that, or showing dominance or something like that.
Yeah. And my
Give 'em another
feeling
pack of
is,
marijuana.
leave the flag the way it's been all these years, it's fine. That's part of history. You don't wipe history off the board, and that's what a lot of
Oh,
them are
that's what
trying
they're
to do
doing,
now.
changing it, yeah.
Changing
We'll
everything.
have 6 people of every color, right, and every sex, we'll get everybody included.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
good, that'll be a hell of a
So,
flag.
so that's what that is.
Lord, oh Lord, help us.
It looks like it might be a long night.
Oh, boy. Especially with that.
Better serve cookies that night.
Who's baking?
I'll tell you what,
So now what do we need to do from here?
Yeah,
You'll send the departments all a
I'll
copy.
send them the updated budget, basically, this is what was approved by the
And
finance committee meeting, the budget hearing. will be-
They'll come the 6th.
Yeah.
Do we have to come early to do something before that
Yeah.
meeting?
The meeting's
Or you
at
should do
7, right?
So come out 6:30.
6 or 6:30?
6 o'clock, 6:30, do your
Yeah.
recommendations.
Yeah,
So
6 and then.
finish up this,
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
bugger. You think 6? I think that's what I had. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what we were last time, 6.
yeah, because then we've got to,
Yeah, the hard part's been with all these bylaw changes, I got those all in as hard copies, so it's like, oh, here, now you need to get them all in and into the booklet. So-
I got
Yeah,
6,
yeah.
I got it 6 o'clock.
yeah,
Big time.
yeah,
Formatting changes are. fine.
because, what are the, that's
Let me see it.
June 6th, is the Thursday, today's the 23rd, so it's
Tell
2
you what,
weeks.
you're gonna see the people diving out.
And the 30th is.
When you start to get to the
Right.
marijuana, and so the eyes are gonna roll and
You just
the
gotta
cars
wait
are
for
gonna
school
flow.
I don't
numbers.
know, there might be a lot of people that
What
went,
do you know?
that came there for it.
you think so,
Probably
I
let
don't,
us
We'll
know.
see.
I mean,
Well, let us know.
to me, it's so
what
damn
some of these
confusing, all these little
departments
iterations.
Yeah.
Want to see us before June 6th.
Oh, I need a motion,
That should-
um,
They can bring it
Snow
up
and ice.
then.
Yeah.
To do what?
to increase the spending authorization for snow and ice by 15,000.
What's that?
I just need a motion to authorize deficit spending to
15 or 50?
by 15,000 to 55,000.
I don't know.
Or sorry, 50. Yeah.
You're saying we have to
So the
add,
current snow and ice deficit is, authorized deficit is 40. I told you earlier I had that, the unexpected cost of 15,000.
so you have to add 15 to
Add
it.
15 to the authorized snow and ice deficit.
Yeah. If we've got to vote on anything, we better do it tonight.
Yeah, that's what I say. Take a vote on that now, so that way
So,
I
I'd like to
Get
make
that.
a motion to increase the authorized snow and ice budget by $15,000.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes! Melt that snow.
Colorado's still getting it, so.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's something?
Oh my God.
Good place for it, though.
The weather is crazy.
It was cold today. It was cold.
Yeah.
Breezy, yeah.
Mm.
The only thing that's good is the black flies. When the wind's fast enough, they don't come
Yeah, but the
around.
mosquitoes are out. I went up to Riverside Cemetery to put some flowers on the grave.
Well, there's no
last
wind
night
down
with my
there, right?
daughter. And they swarm and attack you. The car was full of mosquitoes by the time we got in and closed the door.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
There we
Aye.
go.